welcome to another exciting, thrilling, captivating, edge of your seat, stimulating, I think that's all the adjectives that I know, episode of Hillside. Gotta make sure not to say the other show. You know, so hey, anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for tuning in here on Facebook Live. We're kind of having a little fun here while we record. Hey, Andrea, how you doing? Hey, yeah, just, man, it was a nice day today. Nice sunny day. Loved it. I love driving my routes on days like this, especially in the fall. There's a certain area over by Parkland College that has a lot of trees. And when they change colors, it's just beautiful to just see all the different colors and all the different styles of trees out there. But you know what? The cool thing about it is they're all sharing the same land. And it's just neat to see that. They're all different, but yet they're all in cohesion with each other. Not coercion. Cohesion. I got to make sure I get that, say that right, because the show might take a whole different turn if I say coercion. Might take a whole different. So anyway, hey, before I get going, I got to share a joke. You know, I like to tell people jokes. You know, my producer over here, it took him like 20 minutes to stop laughing. It was just that hilarious. Here we go. See, he's still laughing. Hey, what do you do when you see two snails fighting? You watch them, you let them slug it out. Get it? Slugs, snails, slugs. Okay, anyway, moving on. Wah, wah, wah. So anyway, I was thinking today about those trees and thinking about the theme of this show and about, being, together as one and enjoying the view of life and enjoying the view of the world. And I just thought, how sad it is that we can talk about how beautiful trees are and the different colors and the different leaves. But yet when we can't translate that excitement of the beauty of differences into humanity, it just seems like we're more excited about the different colors of trees and how that makes us feel than, how, the different people who are here on this earth working together can make each one of us feel, and how we tend to forget to find the beauty in people, and just let our experiences and our emotions and our judgments, preclude us from having conversations with people. And I just, like I said last week, I just love talking to people, and I just love getting to see the beauty inside people, because, we all have a beauty inside of us. It's just, sometimes the world stuffs it away, but it's never really ever gone. I mean, and when I get to see people's beauty come out and their excitement and their joy and the smile, I can tell jokes to some people, and usually the younger kids won't laugh too much, but I can see the smile in their eyes. I can see that they want to smile, but it's probably not cool to smile at an old dude telling jokes. I even know I was young. I never laughed at any of the old dude jokes back in the day either. But you know what, now that I'm an old dude, hopefully I'm funnier than the guy that came before me. Probably not. But it's just exciting when you get to see the beauty of life intermingled with each other. And when we can, just go out and find those guys that are struggling with that, or that are struggling to find their inner beauty or their inner strength, I always tell people, it doesn't matter whatever you think about Jesus, Son of God, prophet, good guy, lunatic, whatever you want to think. He knew that if you wanted to have true relationship and true love, you had to go seek out those who were struggling, who needed it the most. He didn't go to, the temples. He didn't go to the churches. He went to the lepers. He went to the Samaritans. He went to the people that were hiding out in cemeteries and graveyards, because the world had told them that because you're different than us, than the majority, you don't count. You don't mean anything. Your life is worthless. But he knew differently. He knew, because he knew true love, just sees everybody on a level playing field. You know, we all have the same opportunities. Now, we're not always given the same opportunities, but we always have the same opportunities to connect and to relate. You know, he went to so many different places. I remember the story where he went to the lepers, and his disciples are like, what on earth are you going over there for? But you know what? He knew he had to go there because his love for them compelled him to go there and to try to make their lives better. You know, when he went to Samaria, you know, the disciples were like, you know, why are we going there? We usually go around Samaria, you know, because they were, once again, they were a segment of society that the majority of the people living there just thought they were worthless. Not even worth, you know, talking to her or getting to know. But he took time to sit down with a woman at the well and just had a conversation, because he knew in that moment, in that conversation, that real change could begin and that a real relationship could happen. You know, and it's just exciting. I get to see that in my own life when I talk to people and hang out with people and joke, tell jokes, you know, even if they groan at the joke. You know, it's a moment that we've connected and just gotten to know each other a little better. You know, I like walking up to people and saying, strangers even, say, hey, how's your day going? You know, I get multiple different responses, but, you know, it's just nice to be in a moment with people, you know. It's just nice to be in a moment. I know when I get home from a busy day with my wife, you know, when we go upstairs and we just, you know, hang out together, and whether we're watching a show or eating or playing a game or just talking, it's just nice to be in that moment, to be able to experience that moment, you know. And like I said, you know, it's just, you know, I'm telling you, when you can get on a hillside and you can sit down and you can just take a moment to relax and just understand what that moment is and be able to see clearly the view, and you can see that with somebody else, you know, it's wonderful. You know, and when there is conflict, when there is tension, when there is moments of things trying to break us apart, that's when we got to try to really focus in on the positives, you know. And you know, I was in a meeting yesterday, and it was just a lot of negativity. I mean, it just seemed like there was just a lot of focus on the negative stuff, and so I just finally had enough. I said, okay, let's go around the room. And I want each person to say something positive, what they think about the situation that they're in. Think of one thing positive. And sadly, it was like very hard to, it's so easy to focus on the negative, but it seems like it's a foreign concept to think about the positive, you know. You know, positive for me is I'm still alive every day. And unfortunately, you know, I'm not saying that we have to have a tragic event happen in our life, or we have to go through a season of sickness or illness or whatever to grasp the concept of the beauty of each day. But I'm telling you, ever since that moment, ever since that season of my life, I've tried to take each day as a gift, as a moment, a chance to inflict some positive into somebody's life. You know, my motto is I always want to leave a positive last. The last thing that somebody thinks about me in a moment is, I would hope, is a positive thing. Because the more positive you put into somebody's life and you deposit into their life, hopefully then that will start to overflow, and more positive they will spill out into somebody else's life. And then it was so on and so on and so on. It reminds me of a great movie that I saw once. It was called Pay It Forward. And it was just phenomenal. It was about just, I think he was a seventh grader. And he just came up with this experiment. He had just seen so much negativity in the world and in his home and in his school. He came up with an idea. He said, you know, I'm going to do something nice for somebody, and hopefully they will pay it forward. Well, it became a national sensation. I mean, it became just nationwide. I mean, strangers were just going out and doing random acts of kindness for people because they had been touched by the positivity and the excitement from somebody else, because a seventh grader decided he was going to step out and try to do some good in the world. and it just exploded. It was great. I just love that movie. I love that concept. I love it when I see somebody getting blessed and then turning around and blessing somebody else, because it's just, that's what life's all about. Life is not about all this other, hatred and turmoil and conflict and whatever's going on. I mean, do we really want to live like that? Do we really want to spend every day hating people? I don't. It sucks. It sucks to not want to talk to people and not to hang out. I talk too much to not want to hang out and chat with people. If I was like that, my wife would throw me out of the house, because she would be tired of me rambling on after a week. So it's just we just got to find common ground. Yes, we do have to find common ground in each of our situations. Her name escapes me right now, but she made it famous. She said, "We're more alike than we are different," and we are. I mean, there's so many more things that we are alike than we are different, and we just need to focus on the things that make us common instead of the things that make us different. Because it's just, the world's not going to spin the right way when we do that. And Jesus knew that. When he came to this earth and when he was born and when he lived his life and he did his ministry and his mission work, he knew the number one fundamental thing to affect change was love. And to love people. And not to try to change people. We're not here to try to change anybody. I'm not here to try to change anybody watching this show. I'm not here to try to change anybody that I come in contact with. But what I would like to change is just a moment of their thought for just a second, and open their minds to the concept that love can change things. Love can rebuild. When we go through a trial and whatever, a sickness or just a time of tragedy in our life, it's very easy to focus on the devastation and the destruction of the moment. It's very easy to focus on that, understandably. It's very understandable to just stay focused and stay stuck in that. And yes, tragedy happens. When I got cancer, and I thought, first thing I thought, man, I'm gone. I'm dead. I'm a goner, And it took me many, 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 many months into, my treatment to where I could even get comfortable with the idea of, maybe I can get over this. Maybe this is not as bad as what my mind tells me it is, And I would just remember one night when I was talking to my wife, I was like, probably one of the worst days of my life. I was just like, I was on the brink. I thought this was it. And I told her, I said, I think I'm going to die. And she looked at me and she said something very powerful to me. And I hope you understand this. But she just said something very powerful to me that helped me connect to her and even more as a wife and just as a caretaker, as somebody who cares about me. She goes, well, is that what you want? Do you want to die? Instead of saying, oh, there now, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. You're just going through a struggle. It's going to be okay. She asked me point blank, do you want to die? And I said, no. And in that moment, I realized that I was focusing too much on the devastation and the destruction that was trying to happen in my life, instead of focusing on the possibility of the restoration that could begin once I realized, that can happen. And when we deal with people and we have conflicts and we have, struggles with each other, instead of focusing on that conflict that could destroy us and destroy the relationship, why don't we worry about think about the possibility of restoration within us, within each other, and then connect with each other and love with each other and just realize that we're all meant to love. I mean, it's just hatred should have never been a word in the dictionary. That should have been a foreign concept from day one. But unfortunately, there's forces out there, there's things out there that try to, you know, put us in categories and, you know, classes and all sorts of stuff that doesn't even count. In the long scheme of things, that doesn't even count. You know, the only thing that counts is that we're human and that we can love each other and that we have the ability to love each other and that it doesn't have to just be, you know, about our differences. It can always be, it can also be about what draws us together, what links us together. You know, my buddy, you know, I like to eat little porgies. I'm going to give you an example. My producer just gave me 2 thumbs up. He likes little porgies, right? So, because I'm old as dirt and he's a spring chicken, he's young, does that mean, so should I be like, well, because he's younger than me, we shouldn't be able to go out and have little porgies together? I know that's a silly concept, but why do we put labels on each other? Why do we put requirements on fellowship? And why do we put requirements on friendships? It doesn't matter. You know, you know, believe it or not, if you can believe it, there are people that are older than me that I love hanging out with. I love all my neighbors, you know. They come from all walks of life. They come from all religious backgrounds. They come from, you know, just all age brackets. I'll break bread with anybody. I love it because I think that's what really God wants us to do. I think that's what God really tried to teach when he was here is that nobody is unreachable. Nobody is unlovable. You know, if that was the case, I'm toast. But you know what? He just wanted that message to ring loud and clear from the hillside, you know, where he was killed and sacrifice was on a hillside, you know. And I think with his last dying breath, I think he just looked at the view and he looked at the creation and he looked at the world that he created and he just marveled, even in that moment, because he just knew that's what he was here for. That's the message he wanted to send out. You know, how do we affect change with it? We got to be purposeful about it. We got to be able, when we decide we want to have those conversations, we got to first of all we got to listen. We got to listen. We can't fix. We're not fixers. We're not here to fix somebody. We're not here to fix anybody. We're here to just love people. You know, people don't want to be fixed. I think that's the number one thing that shuts down a lot of communication and a lot of chances and opportunity for growth in our relationships and in friendships is, you know, people think, oh, they're just trying to fix me. I mean, and to me, when somebody thinks that, you know what they think? They think, oh, there must be something wrong with me. And there's not. There's nothing wrong. It's just, you know, I just like to get to know people. And I hope you guys like to get to know people. And I hope this show encourages you to get out and get to know people. I love outreach. I love reaching out to people. I love meeting people. I like to get to know people. I like to get to know their stories. I like to tell them like wacky, crazy, dumb jokes. I love it. You know, because even if I get a shrug and a groan, at least, you know, there's an interaction and a reaction, you know. We should always be looking for that and try to do it in a positive way. You know, I saw another movie. It's a great movie. Had Patrick Swayze in it. He was a bouncer for a bar. And all these guys were like, so when do we get to rough people up? When do we get to toss people out? When do we get to do all this? And Patrick Swayze just, his comeback was always, just be nice. Just be nice. You know, just be nice. And it drove these guys crazy. But you know what? Towards the end of the movie, they started to realize that being nice in the face of adversity and being nice in the face of someone screaming at you and judging you and calling you names, you know, wins the battle, you know. It's just amazing when, you know, people are in your grill and they're hollering at you and you can just look at them and still love them. I mean, that's powerful. That's more powerful than joining right in with the fight, you know, putting the gloves on, you know, that, you know, put you know, your hands out instead of your hands up is more powerful than anything imaginable. And when we can realize that, and when people can start to really sense that you care about them and that you love them and that you care about their situation, then openness can begin, change can begin. You know, we can, what can I do for you, you know, and what can you do for me? It's not about what we can do for them. It's also what can you do for me? I'm just as blessed in the conversation with people hopefully as I am blessing them in the conversation, you know. I walk away with something, and then sometimes I might walk away and say, you know what? Maybe my thinking was a little off on that. You know, thank you, God, for that conversation. Thank you for that moment and that opportunity to be able to share and to just commune with each other. You know, I love going to church on Sundays. I just do. I just do. I mean, even before I really knew God and really just went all in with it, I just liked going to church. I just liked being around people who were going down the same road, same path. It's just awesome when you see that, and it's just awesome when you see these groups in America and these people that are trying to affect positive change. Now, there's some groups out there that are not doing that, and that's, to me, very sad. But those groups out there that are trying to affect positive change, you know, trying to bring awareness to things, to try to make the playing field level for everybody, man, I love those guys. I love watching them. I love hearing their passion for what they desire and what they seek and their vision and how they can just come together and just chat and talk with each other. I love it. Man, I'll never get tired of that. I want to jump in the middle of that huddle, you know, where people just say, you know what? We're not different. We're not different than anybody else. We just, you know, we love each other. We're the same. I'm excited. I just get excited about talking about this stuff. I love going out and chatting with people and talking to them about it and trying to bring a guy over and another guy over and another guy over and another guy over, and then we end up just sitting around telling bad jokes. But you know what? Hey, that's still fun. It's still fun in the moment. So this weekend, it's supposed to be a nice weekend. Go out and find a moment where you can share a moment with someone, you know, and just see how that is. And just see how that is. And I'm telling you, when we can do that, when you can authentically just look at somebody sitting across from you and say, you know what, man, I don't care about all that other stuff. All that other stuff doesn't mean anything to me. What's important to me is that I get to spend time with you. You know, I feel that's the way Jesus was when he was on earth. He didn't care about all that other stuff. You know, because when he got his disciples, man, the people in town were just throwing a fit. They're like, man, you got a tax collector, you got this guy, you got that guy. What is wrong with you? Why are you picking those guys? Those guys are nothing but bums. They were the bums of the day back then. They were the ones that people hated, and sometimes maybe rightfully so. Maybe they were doing some things that weren't too good, you know, taking more taxes than they're supposed to, you know, just whatever. But you know what? God set all that aside when he chose them and said, you know what? It's what you do next that counts. It doesn't matter what happened then. It's what you do next that counts. And that's why Jesus picked those guys, because I think he picked them because he wanted the world to see and have a vision of what a changed life could look like. What a changed life that goes from greed and hate to love, you know. I mean, look at Mother Teresa. Oh my gosh. Have you ever heard anybody say anything bad about Mother Teresa? I've never heard anything bad. Because she just devoted herself to love and to communion with people and didn't care where they came from, didn't care what walk of life they were at, didn't care whatever. If they had a need, she was going to fulfill it as much as she could, you know. And that's the way we should be with each other. You know, if there's a need, if somebody is struggling, or if somebody's struggling with you, try to find out a common ground. Try to sit down and figure things out. The only time when things can't get figured out is at our last breath. Before then, anything is resolvable. anything. There's always a way to fix everything. Everything is fixable. It's not like, you know, there's an end to it. There's always an opportunity. There's always opportunity. Like I said, it's what you do is what you do next that counts. It's not what you've done, it's what you do next. And I tell that people a lot, and it's very encouraging to people, and people are like, you know, I just never realized that, because it helps me to turn the page. It helps them to get out of the junk that they're stuck in and realize I can cross over that creek at the bottom of the hillside, and I can actually go in and enjoy the meadow instead of being stuck, you know, wondering, you know, how deep the creek is, or I'm never going to be able to get over there. You know, there's a story in the Bible that Abraham's father, God had actually called him to go, and they came to the city that was actually named after a son that had died, and Abraham's father had become so filled with grief that he got stuck, and he stayed there. He focused more on the devastation and the destruction that happened in his life than the restoration that was coming to the people of Israel, you know, and he lost focus, he lost track on that. And so that mission passed on to Abraham. And obviously we all know Abraham became the father of Israel, you know, and just many nations were born out of that. But because he stayed focused and realized that there's always opportunity for restoration and there's always opportunity for deliverance. I mean, God always thinks that. God never thinks, well, this is it. You've had your last shot. You're done. No more chances. No. He always says there's always opportunity for restoration. And just like in our own human lives, there's always opportunity for restoration. We've got to stick that in our brain somewhere. Just stick it in there and dwell on that and just think of that. Wake up every morning and say, this is the day. This is more than just a day with hours in it. This is just more than just a day with weather in it. This is just more than a day with a sunrise and a sunset and a beautiful moon. This is a 24-hour opportunity to make a difference, to make restoration in our lives, to make advances in our conflicts, you know, and to make resolutions and to make, you know, new friends, you know, to make just great things. I'm pretty sure my producer would tell you the first minute when we saw each other, we hit it off. I mean, oh, I lost my Facebook. There it goes. I mean, we hit it off. I mean, I walked in and I told him a crazy joke. He probably laughed all weekend. Probably not. But that's my goal. That's my hope. That's what keeps me going, is I know that when I leave, my vision is that they're still back in the back laughing. But you know what? It's just great to get to meet people. We love chatting, love hanging out, you know. So anyway, so just remember, go out this weekend and find somebody to love. Find somebody to get to know, to care about. You know, and like I always like to end the show is, you know, go out and make a stranger a friend, but more importantly, don't make a friend a stranger. And once again, we'll see you again next week. Enjoy this week. And we love you here at Hillside, and have a great afternoon. I'll see you guys.